just come down to three-point shooting tonight?
No, not just the threes. I mean, that was a big part of it. I just thought in general, our defensive intensity was lacking. I don't know whether it's the focus or we just weren't in sync, and we certainly weren't on the same page. So it's disappointing from that perspective. Yeah.
Where did you, I guess, see those defensive breakdowns most often or early on? When could you tell?
I think it was a little bit of everything. We compounded that a little bit with the number of turnovers. And I thought that kind of got the Bulls going early. So, you beat yourself on one end, and then we, failed to get stops on the other. So it's a recipe for disaster.
You said beat yourself. You still shot 51% and things like that.
Those are empty possessions. You can't afford that against a really good team.
How did Spencer look in his first game back?
He looked fine. I mean, I think he's moving well. He didn't look, winded at any point. So we'll see how he responds. His knee responds, but I think he's fine.
How much of a concern is the knee when he's just coming back after missing that?
It wasn't necessarily a concern, for as far as playing him. It's just how does he respond after not playing for 7 or 8 days. So I think that's probably the biggest concern, is see where he stands tomorrow. But I think he'll be fine.
Is there the reverse you've talked to us about when shots are falling, and you're playing good defense, you don't get that reward or that payoff? Is it the reverse where when shots are falling?
That's a question I don't have the answer to. I can speculate, but I just didn't think our effort and focus was there tonight on the defensive side of the ball. I addressed it after the game. Our care factor has to be better. It just has to. We've seen early in the year where we could be and how we can play when we guard, and we haven't seen it since. So that's probably the most frustrating thing for me.
I know it's just a number, but you guys are below 500 for the first time this year. Do you address that with the team as well? Is that kind of part of it?
I think they know. I mean, it's something that, it's the first time, and it's not the end of the world, but how do we respond? Great opportunities to do that. And, it's now. We have to go now. It's not something we think we can just kind of wait on. I know we're trying to get guys back, but we've played at a certain level before. We need to get back to that.
Chase.
Hey, Wes. Obviously, 3-point defense was a common thread between this loss and the last time you played them. Was it similar in terms of the defensive breakdowns, or did they just make tough shots, or did you think that there were way too many open looks tonight?
I think a lot of open looks. There were some coverage breakdowns. I think probably all the above. It's tough to say right at this moment without watching the film, but feeling the game, it just felt like they got it in a lot of different ways.
And lately, it seems like you guys have had some problems with turnovers, particularly in the first half. And there have been fewer turnovers in the second half. But what's going on in the first half where you guys have to make that adjustment seemingly every game?
Well, we're not really making that much of adjustment in the second halves. Honestly, it's just carelessness, over dribbling. You name it. There's a lot of reasons for it, but it's not one overlapping theme that this is the why. I think our overall focus, it's just got to get better where we value it, and understand how important each possession is. We lost a tough game against these guys. It came down to one possession. That's an easy one to remember, the tough shot at the end. But what about all the other possessions throughout the game, that compound themselves and lead to that moment? If we take one of those out, maybe we don't find ourselves in that situation. Similarly tonight, it's, you allow those things to compound, and before you know it, they stack up. So I think just trying to avoid them when you can. And I don't think anyone's trying to turn the ball over, but, you get one or two bad possessions, the mindset needs to be, hey, we need a really good possession here and get a great shot.
Josh.
Coach, how did you like the way Spencer looked to be aggressive, particularly in the second quarter?
Oh, yeah, I think it's great. We talked about it at times throughout the year that we need him to be aggressive. I want all our guys to be aggressive. And, sometimes we mistake the level of aggression with the number of shots. That's not it. Being aggressive is more so maybe being assertive. reading what's in front of you, attacking the defense, putting pressure on them, then making the right play. So, I want him to continue to do that.
What elements of Kyle's offensive game lately are sustainable for the rest of the season?
I think he can still stay aggressive as far as attacking in the open floor. I think that's been good for him. It's been good for us. I don't think there's any difference with the number of guys we may have coming back. You could argue there might be fewer opportunities with more ball handling on the floor, but I think we get misses. We've said it since day one. Let's get out and run. Let's get out and attack, and I think that he's excelled in that area.
Thank you, Coach.
Neil?
Hey, Coach. Early in the season, statistically, you guys were a good 3-point defense team. Lately it seems like, teams just have an open shot all game. Do you think it's, beginning of the season, maybe things were just lucky and teams were missing, or is there a clear difference in the 3-point defense you guys are playing?
I say there's probably, maybe a little luck in it early in the year, but you also factor in who we're playing. We've played some of the top, tier 3-point shooting teams as of late. So, you got to factor that in as well. Our defense has not been great across the board. So, we can acknowledge that, but I think understanding how they're getting them, are these coverage mistakes? Are they tough pull-ups? It's been a variety, I think, of both, but in general, I'm not panicking about that specific area, of our defense.
Thanks, Coach. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Last question to Wayne.
Hey, Coach. Considering the first time you played Chicago and tonight, did they switch up anything, or was it just one of those nights?
I don't think they switched up anything necessarily. I'm sure they were keying in on some of the things we ran and how we played in game one. But once again, they were aggressive, and I think that's they set the tone early, and we didn't respond very well.
And lastly, Coach, you could say it came down to Chicago's bench. What made them so effective tonight?
It's one of those things that their depth has been good all season. I think you got a guy like Kobe White comes in, he's like a little microwave. He heats up quick. I think that's part of it. But that second unit just kind of felt the energy of that first group and continued to play well. We struggled a bit with our second unit, but even our starters, we struggled to get stops. And I think that's it's got to be a priority for us. That no matter if we're making shots or not, recently we have been. The defensive side is lacking. It's not there right now.
Thank you, Coach. Safe travels.
Thank you.
That's it, Coach. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time.
Take on this. Obviously, the offense was clicking, but what did it come down to for you?
First place, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We just couldn't guard. We just can't defend, and we turned the ball over. That's not gonna win like that. So this team is number one in transition, getting out. We have two of the best scorers in the game right now, and all their role guys are playing at a high level too. So we didn't show up.
You obviously twice now have shown that you can keep up with them, at least go shot for shot. But when everything is kind of clicking for a team like that, what are the little things that you have to take care of, I guess?
Making it hard. I think that's just the biggest thing. They got a lot of open shots. A lot of the threes were not contested or late contest. Our miscommunication on defense, led to a lot of open drives, uncontested layups. And it was like we have no pride in guarding guys and helping the next man. And they took full advantage of it. A team that can score like Chicago can. Like you can't score tit for tat with them. Like that just can't happen. It won't happen.
The offense feel with Spencer being back in there, what was different, if anything?
It was good to have him back. It's always good to be able to have bodies back, fresh bodies back. Him, Aaron, Raul, seeing them get their minutes and get acclimated, get their feet wet, and the lungs back and legs back under them. It's always good. I feel like we did solidly on offense. We obviously could be better, stop turning the ball over, make shots, but offense isn't why we win or lose games, So we guard. No one shit.
You showed him a move out there that he then turned against you really quick. What was that? What were you telling him?
It's weird because he was traveling. Like he got called for 2 travels in the corner, and it's because he was very indecisive. And I was like, as a young player, you gotta kind of know what you're about to do before you receive the ball. And I looked at Coach Donovan, and he was just telling him just catch and go. And it's funny. I told him the same thing. I was like, you just gotta catch and rip. Don't shuffle your feet. You catch and shoot, or you catch and go. Sure enough, his ass caught and went on me to a one-dribble pull-up. But he's a really talented young player. He just had his jersey retired with Illinois, and I told him, I was like, no, not a lot of people have that. That's a huge accomplishment. That's a blessing. What you meant to Champaign and everybody down there was, that meant a lot. And to see his run and see the love he received from that was pretty cool. So I'm a fan of his. I hope he does well. He has a really good group of vets over there and a great coach. So the sky's the limit for him.
Chase.
Hey, Brad. It seems like lately you guys have had some problems with turnovers, particularly in the first half, and sometimes you've been able to clean them up in the second half. But how has that kind of made things difficult for you guys? Kind of getting behind the 8 ball, I guess, with the turnovers early.
I mean, it's kind of just what you said, Chase. It digs us a hole, especially when you're playing a team that's number one in transition and scoring and getting out and converting those off those turnovers. So it's tough, man. We're not going to win like that. We already struggle defensively. We don't make it any better or easier on us when we turn the ball over. So we eliminate those. We at least give our defense a chance to get set and, give us a chance to try to guard. But, if we're not committed to that and we're not obviously taking care of the ball, it's going to be tough to do.
You guys, against the Bulls, who are very good at shooting threes, obviously it was a problem last game, problem tonight. What can you guys do better against them next time to kind of lock down the perimeter better?
Obviously show high hands, whenever we're literally just sitting in front of our guy, have a hand up, understanding personnel, Kobe White, Zach, Lonzo got hot tonight. Those are their shooters, understanding, who you're guarding, who you're running to, what their tendencies are, and just be ready to guard. It's tough when you got guys who can shoot threes and put it on the floor. So you got to accept that challenge and be ready, when you run out there.
Last question, Anil.
Hey, Brad. I guess did you see? You're a pretty aware guy. Did you see the fan voting for All-Star, and did you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't, me, Neil, it's the same every year, every other year. I control what I can control. I don't control the fan voting and anyone that votes for that matter. Everybody's guys who get in are always deserving of it. I'm never a hater. I'm never, in that lane. Everybody's more than deserving of it. It is what it is. I don't trip off of it. I just control what I can control. Go hoop.
Thanks, Brad. Safe travels.
My man.
That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you, Brad.
You told me how excited you were to play. How did it feel to be back out there? I think you had a little bit over 30 minutes. How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling solid. Going to go through the typical recovery process and drink my vegan protein shakes and, all that good stuff. Try to make sure everything's good to go for Orlando. Obviously excited to play. Anytime you miss time, especially given the road and stuff that I've had, like, you cherish getting back out there. Obviously, would have enjoyed a different result, though.
What was your general take on the game? You guys obviously kept up pretty well offensively.
Yeah, but 130. So, we didn't stop them at all. So,
where were the defensive breakdowns, or was it not there from the beginning?
I think in general, obviously, the number one seed in the East are playing at home. They shot at an extremely high level.
I think we have to do a better job defending 3-point line, of course, getting them off the line. But, they also made a lot of shots tonight too. So it's not like, we played a bad team either.
Christos?
Hey, Spencer. Welcome back, first of all.
Thank you.
How do you feel physically?
How I feel?
How do you feel physically wise?
No, I mean, I felt solid. You know what I mean? Like, I take a nap now, but I felt solid in the game, though.
And speaking about the game and the effort that you brought as a team, what would you like to maintain, or what would you like to change for the next games?
I think obviously topping 100 in the number one seeds building is a good sign. Obviously, we didn't want to give up 130. So, if we can kind of maintain the offense, but, do better on the defensive end, we give ourselves a chance to beat great teams, obviously.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Josh?
Spencer, how did you fare against, or while you were in protocol? Did you get sick at all? And
Nah, I mean, I was fortunate. When I first got COVID back in, I want to say like June, what was it, 2019 or something like that, before the bubble, and missed the bubble. That was tough. I mean, I was still testing positive like 18 days later, and I had the fever and all the other stuff the first like 5-6 days, and was in a New York apartment by myself. So that really sucked. This time, it was kind of chill from that perspective. I had an inconclusive, then I had a couple positives, and my CT levels weren't ever really low. So, I just kind of had the sniffles.
how were you able to deal with the frustration of having to watch from afar and not being able to contribute while you were in the protocol?
I mean, there's nothing you really can do, right? You just kind of watch, you try to stay dedicated. When they kind of got me out of, quarantine, isolation and whatnot, just being around my son, obviously, was great. That's usually how I pass the time with most of my days, is try to be a dad, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last question to Neil.
Hey, Spence, when you're watching those games, when you unfortunately had to sit out, is there anything that you watch and try and pick up that, okay, when I come back, maybe this is something that I can do to try and get on a roll with Brad?
I mean, it's really just establishing whatever our play style is going to be. And, I've said from the beginning, right, like my job is to come here and be complimentary to Brad. So, I know some games when I was out, he had really big assist nights and things like that. Like, I'm all for point Brad as well. You know what I mean? Like, and playing the two and whatever that mesh point is. Like, I'm up for it. I'm ready for it. I want to help the team win games. Like, whatever y'all need me to do is what I came here to do and what I'm gonna try to do.
When you say like establish an identity, about halfway through the season, do you think that is something that should already be established, or just given all the new pieces, new coaching staff, it just continues to take time?
I think in general, for most teams, yeah, I mean, it's already established. I think we have a lot of new guys. I think we also play a lot of guys. I think, with G League, whatever. I mean, it's not uncommon for us to have 11 people in rotation, on any given night. So, there's a lot of juggling that coach has to do. In some cases, I think it's an unenviable position, but it's kind of where we're at in the hand we're dealt. And so, as things continue to round into form, we just got to figure it out, man. No excuses.
Thanks, Ben. Safe travels.
Thank you, boss.
That's it, Spence. Thank you.